Yes, I'm back with another video all about colouring, and today's video is about colouring book tutorials. Now, I haven't started all of these yet. I have just started on one for now, which is the one by Moti. They're all very similar, but I have got lots of different ones from my favourite brands and artists. They have those subtle differences, and I will explain why in a minute. Finny Bini, this one's just been released. I love Finny Bini colouring books. This covers Mindful Girl, Cozy Fairies and Witchy Girl. So I love this because even before you dive into the main colouring book, which is, if you haven't heard of Finny Bini, by the way, you have to check them out. They are so good. If you want a full walkthrough video of all of the colouring books from Finny Bini that I have, so for instance, Mindful Girl 3, Witchy Girl, love this one, Mindful Girl 2, Mindful Girl 1, I think I've got another one somewhere as well, Cozy Fairies. This tutorial book covers the elements that you find within those books. For instance, let me flick through. So this one is Mindful Girl, and then within that there's practice pages. So there's clothing, there's the animals, cat practice, and different elements depending on what you want, trees. And then if I skip through to the next colouring book, and then there's just lots of generic practice spaces as well for you to work on your own. And then at the end of the sections, she actually has the full pages from that corresponding colouring book. So again, you get to practice before you do the main thing. So I love that, because if you love a page in particular and you don't want to screw it up, this is your chance to practice. So let's go into Cozy Fairies is the next section. So you get a good amount of practice per book, and the same thing again. You get the hair, you get the clothing, you get butterfly wings in this part, roses and flowers and leaves and crystals. Crystals, I'm looking forward to doing that actually. Mushrooms, fairy objects, glitter, portals, skies, witchy girl now. And the same thing applies. Ghosties. I love me a ghostie. Let me know your favourite character. For me, it has to be cute ghosts and cute chubby frogs. They are my two favourite characters to colour. And I have quite a lot of ghosty and colouring frog pages over there. So you've got a full page from Witchy Girl and then another one. So far, this is just such a great addition to my collection, because before I even attempt my favourites, I can practice. So that's Finny Bini. So starting with the Finny Bini colouring book, this one in particular is for the Mindful Girl colouring books, the Cozy Fairies and the Witchy Girl. So here's the Mindful Girl. So this is the kind of things that you're going to be covering. So water, cat, fur, trees, hair and skin, skirts and shorts. And then you get even a full illustration from the colouring book itself. So this is really good. So you can actually work off your checklist. Now the same goes for Cozy Fairies. So again, for this one, you learn how to do fairy wings, hydrangea flowers, crystals, butterflies, fairy portals, sparkle and glitter effects. So these sometimes are a little bit overwhelming if you were to come straight into them from a beginner like I am. So I know that this is going to be so beneficial, because I don't want to mess up the main colouring book, and I'm sure that you would be the same. Again, spooky clothes, ghosts, treats, cauldrons and potions, I can't wait for that one. Stone textures, fire, backgrounds. Each section has the key elements of that particular colouring book. So here we go, Mindful Girl, skin and hair, skirts and shorts, tops, accessories, cats, dogs, plants, trees, windows, brick texture. This is brilliant. I love this. Wood, sand, water, skies and clouds, backgrounds. You can then do your own pattern practices with the colours. So there's several pages of those. Then we come to a full Mindful Girl colouring page, which is in the main colouring book, and a second one. So again, you can practice your textures, your hair, your clothing, your fur. So they've been really clever in how they've been giving you your challenges. So there we go, even with just one element, you then have different types of challenges to further your skills, essentially, so that you never run out of anything. I love this one. So this is the same scene, but you then have to try and change it from rainy, sunset, snowy, spring, foggy, starlit. I just love the extra added thought to this. Going on to Cozy Fairies. So again, these are the characters from the book. You can see the change of the outfits here, the wings. See, again, you get a lot of chance to try these elements out. By the way, I'm sorry, I was testing colour polishes yesterday from Essie, and I like this one and this one, but I only did 2 fingers, so apologies for the random colours on my fingers. I have yet to do my whole hands, but that's for another day. Beautiful flower practices. Hydrangeas, again, can be quite intimidating because you've got lots of that like watercolour fade out, leaves, bushes, crystals, which I'm certainly looking forward to, mushrooms, butterflies again with more detail, fairy lanterns and lights. I think this is a really clever idea. Sparkle and glitter, fairy portals, skies and clouds. See, you can just tell it's not just your generic colouring practice book. There's so much thought been gone into this. Fairy patterns, so there's 3 of those. And again, same formula, 1 full page to bring in the elements that you've just learnt. So I really find that this colouring book has a graduation through it. It's not just random pages of you learning over and over the same techniques. There is progression. And again, glowing, poisonous, moonlit, mossy, pastel, autumn. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of inspiration to then run with it. You know, I wouldn't naturally think of these exercises as something to extend my creativity. And sometimes even just having the same shape takes out the overwhelm. You know what you're doing with the shape by the time you've done the first one, and then you can just use your creativity in simple ways to make these subtle changes. I think the only thing that I would have liked is on this page, I know it's difficult with colouring pages, but to have been able to write down the colours, but then I'm sure you could also swatch those down below or put a post-it note in, which is what I do with my main colouring books. So again, the same with the leaves. Burning and Frosty sound amazing. And then we're on to Witchy Girl, which is unbelievable as a colouring book. If you like witchy vibes, like spooky cutie, this is the colouring book that you will absolutely love, because very unique sort of little items that you can colour in. You've got your ghosts, you've got your pumpkins, spooky treats, spooky creatures, cauldrons and potions, fire effect, Halloween windows, stone, skies and clouds, backgrounds. I love the hands. And then you've got your 3 pages of pattern practice so that you can go a bit more freestyle. One main colouring page, second main colouring page. Then you've got, I love this, fluffy, toxic, stormy, tie-dye, icy, candy. So even with the ghosts, you can have so much fun with creating different styles. Again, I love how simple a challenge it is, but it sparks creativity in a simple way. This is what I love. Lava, rotten, haunted, wooden, spooky, golden. Just absolutely cannot fault this practice book, and I can't wait to do it. Okay, so here we go. So it goes into your colour studio. So you could even do like a page of your pastel tones, your spooky tones, just greens, just earth tones. You could basically have a swatch book and have a page per palette. So I love that, and I think that goes on, yes, to quite a few pages. I think you've got at least 10 of those, and then you've got blending. So if you wanted to gradients or fades or different ways of blending, you can practice all of that as well. And there are loads of pages to do with that. Oh, and then they've got trio colours. So again, you could do retro, pastel. You could do like a neon 80s vibe. You could do a grey tone. You could do so many different ideas with this. So there's a few pages of those, and that is the end of Finny Biny. So if you don't know Finny Biny, I would highly recommend picking up her colouring books. She's got 3 Mindful Girl ones, so Mindful Girl 2 and 3, Cozy Fairies and Witchy Girl. So you could quickly fall in love with the world of Finny Biny, and I think you will if you haven't heard of those colouring books. I'm not sure if it's a single woman who's called Finny Biny. That's what I'm assuming from all of the information that I've read, but this is a practice book not to be underestimated. So that's the first one. You've seen in my previous video that I do love Coco Wyo, and this is their version, How to Draw Patterns by Coco Wyo, and again, super easy to go through. It's got lovely illustrations and coloured pictures, so even you can get inspiration. I mean, just isn't that stunning? Just introduction, like always, talking about pens, and then you're straight in. So 2 challenges per page. And if you didn't watch my first video where I talked about my first tutorial book, you can go back and watch that, because I have found it really helpful to do a page a day. So I learn a new technique each day, and then they've got like a whole page of like colours and textures and multiple ways of doing the same item as well, because they've got like 3 socks, 3 fish, and the same thing goes through. And then they've got like a page of lots of different patterns. So that's Coco Wyo. Okay, I'm moving on to Coco Wyo, and Coco Wyo has quickly become a well-known name in the colouring world. So I had to pick this one up just because they're well known, and it would make sense that their colouring tutorial book would follow along with their colouring pages. So as always, we've got the hippo character. I did love this book just because the introduction pages were full of colour. You could immediately get ideas about how to fill in the colouring book, even if you were a complete beginner. So again, you've got these lovely elements. It's a way to introduce everything. Here we go, there's 2-page colour spread. So you've got doodle patterns, surface textures, so like this gingham coat that the goose is wearing, water effects, playful patterns, hair and fur. Even the little characters just are full of whimsy and charm, aren't they? So it immediately makes it feel less scary. And I love how just simple and elegantly it's laid out. Tips and tricks on blending, shading, types of pens, how to use the acrylic pen, how to add patterns. It breaks it down in such a simple way. And even if you are more advanced, it's quite delightful to see how it's been laid out. So I don't take it as being really pedantic. I actually like it as a quick refresh, because anyone and everyone can take this on board, even this swatch here of how to blend. It breaks it down in such a simple way. So doodle patterns, again, you get the little simple steps. These are a 4-step process. Obviously, it's not everything because there's little elements that you kind of fill in the gaps with, but then you get a practice section. So like me, you could do a page a day or a page a week, and it breaks it down super easily. So those are the doodles. Then we're going textures, so glass, earth, stones, crystals, cement, paved stone, honeycomb, dripping ice cream, disco ball, colourful tiles, tile as in bathroom, granite, mossy bricks, roof tiles, pastel pavers, scales. I love the rust effect because that's something I definitely feel intimidated by, but again, you can break it down and try it out. Wood planks, coastal, which is more like a sunset coast, ocean foam. I still find this really difficult to do. So this is water now. Moonlit lake, bubbles, ripples, puddles, playful patterns, so mushrooms, sparkling liquid, ooh, cool. Animal spots, polypore fungi, ooh, see, I would never think about doing this, but here we are. A simple breakdown step by step. Sparkling hearts, butterfly wings. See, this is what's great. So the Finny Biny one doesn't necessarily give you a breakdown, but you could say have this colouring book, learn how to do the wings, and then you go over to the Finny Biny colouring book, and then you practice over and over different colour schemes within the wing section. So sometimes these books can cross-reference each other. Heat map, I love that one as well. I don't know where you would use that, maybe in a space theme or something, but again, gives you options. Hair and fur, window and sky. See again, like a mystical forest, Santa and his sleigh, or equally you could do like a witchy scene with that one. City night, stormy day it says, but I don't know whether it looks like a day or a night, but sunset through railings or some kind of mesh fence, sunrise I think over the ocean, cloudy day again, beautiful fireworks. It just opens up so much. And sometimes even if you're lost for inspiration, you could just come to a book like this and go, okay, I really want to do something different with this colouring page. What do I want to bring? And you can instantly get, okay, I'm going to do a rainy window today. It's quite a basic scene, quite a cosy scene, but how can I add in an extra little bit of technique or learning and just jazz it up a little bit? Nature, mud, I love this effect. Stone path with all the grass in between. See, what this does is it just takes the overwhelm out of the picture. Volcano, love it. Snow. See again, how do you picture snow? How do you actually put it onto paper? Bushes, so you've got like little pink bushes, you've got shrubs, you've got willows with the hanging leaves coming down. I love that. Little flower beds all into different sections. Ice, lava. See, the concepts are the same, but they're just different colours. Once you know how to do one, they're actually pretty simple. And I like that because it even gives you the colours. And then this is just a few items that are the same. So you've got like 3 flames, 3 pillows, 3 bits of coral, 3 teddy bears. So you can then try different styles. So similar to the Finny Biny in that you could do like molten, frozen, spooky in these elements, which is I think what they're trying to do. So the teapots, for example, that's a bright one, that's a raindrop one, that's an old sort of fossilized one that's been in the undergrowth for a long time. So you get the picture with this Coco Wyo one. And again, it's just lovely for inspiration. You could just come to the back here and find a pattern. You don't even have to do an exercise if you don't want to. You can literally just look through this library of incredible patterns. And then finally at the back, they have taken some of their colouring pages from their main books and put them in the back here so that you can try out techniques before committing to your actual main colouring book. See, here we go, they've even referenced it. So little rooftop friends, swimming pool, little duck and spirits, so cute, cozy morning prep. And that is Coco Wyo's How to Draw Patterns. Bogiki, again, one of my favourites. I love Bogiki. They just do some incredible books as well. So if you haven't heard of Bogiki, you need to go and check them out. So this is how to colour cosy things. You don't have to have all of them. I just know that each one has slightly different take on what they teach. Author and publisher an artist has particular colorways for their characters. So sometimes even just having their own tutorial book gives you some ideas of how, like, I mean, look at the duck, just how you would like to see the finished product. You may want to start from scratch and not actually have any influence, but sometimes I really like just having the ideas. You don't always have to do them, but they're there. Colour combinations, how to put shadows. This one I would say is a little bit more comprehensive than the one I started, which was Mimi Moti. Not to say that this isn't good too, but this one's a little bit more information if you really are starting from scratch. I did a lot of art theory and art when I was younger, so I know the basics. I just need to apply it with colouring pens. And again, you're into 2 techniques per page, and you can make it as fun or as difficult as you like, depending on the challenge. So that's Bogiki. So between Fini Bini, Coco Wyo and Bogiki, you don't even need to go any further. And this is their How to Colour Cozy Things tutorial book. Again, once you get to know different creators, different artists, you'll begin to see their unique style, their unique look. I can already tell this is Bogiki just by the duck and the way that the illustrations are, because I've got to know them. So again, very similar. Again, you might find that one particularly jumps out to you and you may not like the way somebody else does it. So for instance, I find this a little bit more chaotic because of the bright pink. I don't particularly like the boxes as if they're on a computer. I think this is the whole thing of looking like it's on a tabbed page on a computer. A little bit more intense for my liking, but you may well love it. This is great because it talks about the colour wheel, primary colours, secondary colours, the way in which you would use the colour wheel, harmonious colours, different types of combinations create a different feel. Step-by-step blending techniques. Again, what they've done here is little palettes. Ways in which you work out where the light is. So for instance, this is a little bit more in depth about different elements that the other Coco Wyo book didn't have. Level up shading, so you work out where the light's coming from, how to define it, or if you want it more simple. Talking about framing, create a sticker effect, add patterns, how to add acrylic outline. So you see some of these books have a little bit more extra added into them. And now we get into the actual thing, and this one's got a lovely full colour illustration, which I really love. So water, lake water, under the sea, coast, puddles, water drops. See, these elements weren't in the other book. Ocean wave, for instance. Reflective lake. See, we touched on the water, but we didn't do it with the rocks. Flame, volcano, snowy roof, ice, sand castle, stone path, pine trees, sparkly pink tree, grass, bushes. So you see, like, none of these books so far have duplicated, but you can take things from different books, which is why I have ended up with the ones that I've got, because I could find that each one of them had something to offer, and it gives you a really rounded way of learning. And you may find that sometimes this might be too intense and you want to go to the other one, and other times you want a real reason of why I'm learning something so that you can complete the Finny Biny colouring book. You know what I mean? So practice pages, just random things. Then we go on to wood and brick, stained glass, scales, backsplash tiles, cement tiles. So for instance, yeah, they've done 2 different tiles here. Swimming pool tiles, a different way of doing rust. Glass within, so you've got objects within, and then you do reflection. rooftop, another practice page. Now here we've got hair in lots of different ways with shading. So this is a little bit more to learn with this. Sheep fur, I love sheep fur, that's been super fun. Different types of cats, so not just colouring cats, but actually, do you want a cat to look like a certain breed? So tabby, Siamese, tan skin, light skin, I love that, that's brilliant. Plaid, gingham, patchwork, checkered, embroidery, jeans is really hard, so I like that. Knit, leopard, tie-dye, I'm not a particular fan of tie-dye, but you've got it there if you want it. Some lace curtains over, love that. Capitone. Oh right, okay, cool. So that's like if it's like a Chesterfield chair, which here in the UK is quite standard, it's quite traditional. Snake skin. Okay, and then we've got a full page layout of practice. Sunsets, sunrise, middle of the day, sunset, stormy, rainy, frosty, desert. I don't quite know how that fits in. Rainbow, magical forest, northern lights, night sky. So again, you can just see all of these different ideas. You can come to this book, learn the technique, and then quickly just jump straight into the colouring page that you're working on. Or start the page that you're working on, and then when you're stuck, come to one of these books. It really is just a wonderful addition to just help you get out of doing the same things over and over and you feel like you're not progressing. These books are great for gradually learning new techniques, and if you mess up in here, it doesn't matter. Cherry, heart. So you get the picture. There are just, I really want to try this, the holographic coat. You can just try so many different elements. I love anything magical and whimsy. And again, I don't want to necessarily try these techniques in my book in case I mess up. Bubbles, balloon. Again, I would be quite intimidated by doing that straight away, but if I can do it in here, perfect. And you can even get this out and have it, you know, like you could have it to the side while you're doing your main colouring page so you can quickly reference it. It's all about giving yourself the chance to play and have fun. It's not serious. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's all about you being creative, having time with yourself, and playfully learning with no expectations. This is what I truly love about colouring. Then I've actually got two from Maison Nook. I have yet to discover what's different because I haven't had chance to play with these yet, but this is how to colour cute stuff. And yeah, they both have different covers. I think one's part 1, part 2, but it doesn't actually say on the book. Nope. Let me go through this one then. So this one, again, lovely colour pages with different ideas. Each one has their own style, which I'm sure you can tell. 2 products or 2 colouring ideas per page. So I would say go with the colouring book that grabs you the most. So that's Maison Nook book 1 or 2, I'm not sure. And then the other one by Maison Nook, I think it just covers different elements. Yeah, different special effects. So you may well want to pick up both of these ones. And again, just different items to colour. So I don't think you'll waste your money if you were to get both because, oops, bashed myself in the nose. You're still learning. Okay, so now we've got 2 books from Maison Nook. This is volume 1 and volume 2. So this says volume 2 here. So let's start off with volume 1 for now. And because I'm a bit of a hoarder of these tutorial books, because I've already fallen in love with them, I just had to get both. So you don't have to get both. This is for me to show you so that you can decide. Again, beautiful colour illustrations. I love their books. They are just, again, really a delight to look through, and already just looking at this one page, it's inspiring. Like this jelly mold is just cute. I won't go through telling it all, but you can just have a quick look about how to use pens, colouring techniques, shading. Each book has its own version of what it's doing. Okay, so each page has its own way of teaching, as you can see. So I think it really will come down to preference of how you like the layout. I would say, although I love Bogeiki, I would say, although I like Bogiki colouring books, their tutorial book, just by the simple fact that it's in that computer style with the bright pink, is a little bit harsher for me personally. If it had been softer tones, I think I would feel more calm looking at it. But anyway, that's a personal preference. They've done more like stickers and little post-it style, which is cute. But I think so far, Coco Wyo is my favourite. Apologies. Again, what they've done is colour palette ideas, which is great. And then you're straight into the patterns. So I'm just going to quickly run through these. I'm not going to give you a rundown of everyone because you've got the gist by now. Very similar. I mean, this is actually 6, broken into 6 steps. So it's a little bit more in depth than the other book that was just 4 steps. So you'll have to figure out how you like it best. Do you like to be shown every single step? Or can you work out between the 4 steps, for instance, what the missing element is? I mean, visually you can probably tell, but sometimes if you're really, really a beginner, you want each step. So this one may well be better because it is broken into 6 rather than 4. And again, it's good for me to recognise that as well because I hadn't noticed that before. Full page, then you're on to hair and skin. Good. This is the first book I've seen with guys in it. So this is one step closer to being more complete in my opinion. Terrazzo, that's new, that's good. Again, another way of doing rust, different way of doing marble. Stained glass. So yeah, everything has a different way. Another full page. I prefer the other version of jeans compared to this one. This one's a bit flat in my opinion, but again, everyone likes different ways of doing things. So it's up to all of us to find the best way to explore and experience things. This is very familiar. I think they've taken this inspiration from the Bogiki colouring book, in my opinion, because that is almost identical to that other illustration that we just saw. Again, holographic. In my opinion, the other one was a little bit better. But I'm not smirking. I'm not smudging on anyone's, you know, different types of learning and teaching. You've got to figure out the way that you like the best yourself. Love that. Cityscape and Magical Forest. Rainy window, that's nice. Galaxy, I think that's one of the first times I've seen that. Northern Lights, another really great element. And again, patterns. So you could come to this and just get a little idea of what it is that you want to do. I love the lemons, the fish. They've got some snowflakes down here. And that one ends on that one. So that's Maison Nook, How to Colour Cute Stuff, Volume 1. And then let's quickly run through Volume 2. Here we go. Whether or not you need both, again, let's figure that out. So it just continues to extend different effects. Okay, so it treats it as if it's... Okay, so we've got the colouring mediums. So it is seeing this as a fresh colouring book. So you don't necessarily have to have volume 1 to be able to buy volume 2. So they're seen as 2 separate ones, which is kind of cool in a way, because it means that you don't have to buy extra if you don't need to. This is lovely. So it's about choosing your palette as to what energy that you want to invoke. So royalty, magic, spirituality, power, confidence and fun, nature, healing, growth, calm and stability. Love that. So deciding the mood of the page. That's a really unique take. I like that. Haven't seen that in any of the others. Colour blending as well as with a colour palette. So far I actually really prefer this one to the other one. Let's go through the patterns again, super quick. You can obviously pause the pages if you want to look a bit slower. I'm just running through it quickly because sometimes I'm very much like, I just want a quick run through. I don't need a whole essay. So if you like me and you just want to have a quick reference, that's why I'm doing it double time. And then for those of you that actually want to take your time and look at the pages, feel free to pause them because this video is going to be super long otherwise. I love the green hair. That's nice. That's really different, unique way. Yeah, I like that. That's new. So I would say you don't even need all of these books. It's just figuring out which style of learning you like the best. And again, she's done 6 steps with these. So again, crocodile skin, that's quite a unique one. If you're like me and you like to challenge yourself to maybe complete a book per month or every 6 months, so you're constantly learning, I think these books are brilliant. Whether or not you need all of them, that's entirely up to you. I certainly feel that each one of these does bring something different, but I am in no way saying that you have to have all of them. I would say start off with one and slowly progress. I just got a bit carried away and bought the ones that jumped out to me. But if you wanted to just start off slow, my personal recommendation would be just to pick with one that you feel is calling you the most. And the final one that I've got is by Moti, and I have started this one. So if you haven't seen my other video where I talk about the current pages that I'm working on, let me show you now. So I've been challenging myself to do 2 a day, so a page a day. And I'm a beginner, so be gentle with me. I'm still not happy with how I'm getting the water, but this is what practice is for, right? So colouring, stitching, I didn't particularly like the butterfly, but I do like the green stitching there. This is my favourite page because it's all things witchy. Love the cauldron and the potion. I really went to town on this one. I had lots of fun doing that. And I love the fact that you can write down the colours so you can come back and recreate it very easily. Oops, let's get that out. Then bubbles. Again, super pleased with how just some simple techniques just make the world of difference. They really, I'm surprised myself that I can do this now. So if you don't think you're creative, get yourself a tutorial book because honestly, you will learn so much more than you thought you would. And then the sheepy. Again, lots of like concentric circles and squiggles to try and emulate the sheep's coat. And that's all I've done so far, but I'm excited to keep going. All right, so here we have Moti, and this one, like I said, is the only one that I've started, but I put it in my colouring bag. I have it alongside my main colouring book that I've got going, and it's really helping me just learn a technique whenever I feel like it. So here's our opening page. I love Moti's colouring pages as well. She's got a really unique take, like they all do. They're all so individual. And you will, like me, find that you have your favourites once you get to know. She's got a really simple way of doing harmonious colours, a certain colour section of the wheel, a smaller section, and then maybe one colour range. And that is also depicted here. We've got markers, a different way of looking at that. Again, it's really simple laid out, which is why my eye was just gravitated towards this book, because it was super simple. So as a starter book, even before you even look at the other ones, if you wanted really simplistic, this one may well be for you. I love these characters. Again, really soft palette, really individual ideas. And this is where I have started. So apologies if you can hear my little chihuahua snoring in the background. He's fast asleep on the floor. I added in extra colours, as you can imagine, because they only give you 6. If you wanted to keep it really simple, of course, you could just use those. I've put in the actual pen number as well as the name. I get a bit caught up in the numbers. I'm actually from now on going to try and not use the numbers and just use the names. But I know for referencing when I'm colouring, if you want to follow along, I know the number is better than just the name, because if you've got an old set versus a new set, or you want something similar, it is easier to cross-reference. Anyway, embroidery, I loved the green, not so much the pink, but the technique was really lovely to learn. Going into the magic potions, I love this page. This is by far one of my favourites, as I already said. Love magical cauldrons. I tried this cat. I messed up on one bit, so I had to go over it with acrylic pens, but we won't worry about that. Love the little magical details within the water. Did some like orby water and glass technique. The bubbles, again, I've used this multiple times since learning this technique, and it's just been invaluable. Sheep fur, loved this. Not necessarily fond of the colour choices that I made, but again, I tried to follow the tutorial as best as I could. The dolphins, again, was a fun technique. Would I do it for myself in one of my books? Probably not this one. This one was one that I actually did, but didn't like the overall finish. Glowing mushrooms, super cute. I would have never thought to bring in the white acrylic to make it pop, but it really does. This one was cute with this little sleeping animal. Reminded me of Studio Ghibli's Totoro, is it? The lava, super cute. Love this little dino. He's like sweating. This is super cute. This was a really lovely technique. I think that came out amazing. Then we've got like our pumpkin, like Halloween soup. Loved again that element of bringing in that with the eyeballs. Little bit of shading there. And then we're up to date with the fantasy sky, which I will be starting next. I'll be doing that and the roof. So from now on, I'm just going to run you through the pages so that you can get an idea of what this book entails. And actually it gives you a nice idea that with this easy 4-step book, you can achieve these effects just like I have. So moving on, we've got cotton, starry night, magical hair, ground but coloured ground, flower pattern, rusty robot. I love that. I'm looking forward to doing that one. Beach, sunset, a rug, sand, sky, argyle, sunset, tree, water, but a different type, like an eerie kind of more deeper tones. This is really lovely with the rocks and the grass in between. Stone, but more like old cottage castle style. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like cobblestones. Hair that's got a glimmer. Capitone, again, it seems to be a thing. Whether it's American or foreign, in the UK, we wouldn't call it Capitone, we'd call it Chesterfield. But tell me, is that the correct description? Am I remembering it wrong? Balloon, dirty car, love that. Tablecloth, that's a really hard one. And again, in a previous video, I did a beekeeper's kind of like bonnet, which made it translucent. So again, umbrellas or like a rain mac, it's a similar concept. Stained glass window, love that. Jellyfish is always good. Fish scales, yes. Groovy flower, checkered flower, bow, frog, strawberry, lemon, glitch effect. That is going to be really cool to do. I think that will be fun, especially on a Halloween or kind of like spacey page. Watermelon, starry skies, beautiful, very like Christmassy, magical. Galaxy is always great. Tiles, not so fun, but still practical. Brick, night sky, sunny sky. These again just give you that whimsy. And as soon as you see it, you think, oh yeah, I could do that. And that's what these are all about. It's just making things achievable for people and for me that need that extra bit of a nudge. And then once you're doing it and you learn it over and over, it becomes second nature. Again, you've got your palettes, which are really great if you want a quick reference. I'm actually starting a palette series of us actually choosing pens, and not just for one page, but maybe for like a whole colouring book, and keeping those palettes within pouches so that every time you do a certain type of colouring book or colouring page, you grab that palette and it's already done for you. So if you're interested in keeping an eye out for that, that will be coming out next with my first one. So please subscribe if you want to, or just keep a tab on the channel in general. So there we go. So we've got your colour at your own art. You've got 2 pages of that. You've got a main page to practice. I don't know whether this is from one of her colouring books because I have got some of hers, but I haven't got to know them very well. Colour swatch, and then you're at the end of the book. So again, this one is a really nice, simple introduction book. So rounding up this video, if I was to recommend just 2 for starting out, it would be the Coco Wyo How to Draw Patterns and the Fini Bini Cute Colouring Practice book, because it actually applies to specific colouring books, and her books are fantastic. So if you want me to do a flip through of all of her colouring books, I would be absolutely over the moon to do that for you. But I just love how this has a greater reasoning behind it because you're actually working towards something. And Coco Wyo is, like I said, the classic. It covers all the basis. It's simple enough to start with. I mean, I would say if you wanted more in-depth and 6 steps and you really wanted one more to add, I would do Maison Nook, How to Colour Stuff Volume 2, because you have got the 6 steps. If you want 3 or 2, I would go these 2, possibly adding in this one. So that is my rather large tutorial collection of books, and I may well buy more if my favourite artists bring them out, but for now that's plenty to keep me busy. So I hope you had fun. It was lovely to see you and spend time with you, and until next time, happy colouring.